This is a map of the United States, and it points out in the headline that regional figures hint at over and underuse of Ritalin. So you're looking at a map of the United States, all the different regions. I have a colored version of the same map, and I want you to focus your attention to the Midwest. Look at Michigan, and I want you to look at Ohio and Indiana and the East Coast. This particular slide right here is one of the main reasons that I wrote my book on ADHD and trans fat. I found this slide in the middle 1990s in the USA Today. It was a snapshot in the bottom corner, and they had the amount of snack food that was consumed in the United States. If you turn your attention down to the southeast, that's Florida. If you look down to the Pacific area, that would include California. Do you see it's only 19 pounds? I want you to look into the central United States, and that's going to be having 24 pounds of snack food that's consumed per person per year. That's just snacks. Now, when I looked at this slide, and then what happened was the slide before and the slide that's going to come up right now, the next slide, shows the United States. And if you look at the concentration, that's the concentration of Ritalin in the United States. Focus on Michigan. Look at the East Coast. You can see what's going on there. That's where most of the Ritalin was being consumed and is still being consumed in the United States. And the reason that we know that is that Ritalin happens to be a Schedule II drug. If you look at California and if you look at Florida, compared to the whole rest of the United States, there happens to be a county in Upper Peninsula, Michigan, called Dickinson County, where 8% of the kids were taking Ritalin every day. And over in Martha's Vineyard, 7.4% of the kids were taking Ritalin on a regular basis. And what I was blessed to learn, what I was able to put together in my mind, and what helped break this whole thing open, was the fact that partially hydrogenated fat, or trans fat that's used in junk food, is the main reason that kids have a problem with ADD today. So let's talk a little bit about Ritalin. It's overprescribed and it's dangerous. Now today we have drugs like Clonidine and Adderall and Strattera. We have so many other different medications. Any medication that's being used to help control a child's behavioral actions, and you're trying to change chemistry without changing the food, because you're going to find out we need to change what these individuals are taking. So we have Ritalin. Pediatricians, parents, and teachers are not aware of the hazards because of a large body of research demonstrating the ill effect of this drug has been ignored and it's been suppressed in order to encourage the sale of the drug. That was Dr. Bregan. Decreased blood flow to the brain, an effect recently shown to be caused by cocaine, where it's associated with impaired thinking, ability, and memory loss, also associated with Ritalin. Disruption of growth hormone, leading to suppression of growth in the body and the brain of the child. These are serious, bad effects that happen to these individuals that are taking these medications. And my goal today is to teach you what you can do to make a difference. You can have permanent neurologic tics, including Tourette's. That's when they move their body around. Addiction, abuse, including withdrawal reactions on a daily basis. Psychosis, which is mania, depression, insomnia, agitation, and social withdrawal. Possible shrinking of the brain. And I've seen individuals, they start taking this medication and they stop eating. So what happens, they start taking these chemicals and they stop eating. And they're just done. And I've talked to individuals. I've had individuals on TV programs with me, and the moms will look at me and say, I've lost my child. It's like they're not there anymore. I'm talking to them and there's like nobody is home. And you can just see that the mom has so much sadness because they had this loving little toddler of a child. Then as they progress, they lose them and they put them on the medication and they just become lethargic. It's frightening. Ritalin is overprescribed. Worsening of the very symptoms the drug is supposed to improve, including hyperactivity and inattention, and then they have decreased ability to learn. Most children receiving Ritalin have been identified for treatment by teachers who have been misled by drug company and government promotional campaigns for Ritalin and other stimulants. Parents and teachers and even doctors have been badly misled by drug company marketing practices, said Dr. Bregan. Drug companies have targeted children as a big market likely to boost profits, and children are suffering as a result. And you're going to see later on in the program, it's not only children today that these drug companies are starting to go after adults. Remember at the beginning of the program? ADHD kids become ADHD adults. Over 60% of ADHD kids continue on as ADHD adults. This was also in the USA Today. It's very interesting when they talked about how the effects of Ritalin are and how the effects of Ritalin can affect long-term cocaine use. Watch this. Kids treated with stimulants, which would be Ritalin, were more likely, now this is not Dr. Bob saying, this was in the USA Today, the kids treated with stimulants were more likely to try cocaine in high school, now watch this next statement, though they were not any more likely to use it regularly. It's like, hello, who are we trying to fool here? If these kids are taking cocaine a little bit, from my understanding what cocaine is, it's a very highly addictive drug. So if you have a child that is taking Ritalin when they're in grade school and continuing on in high school, and you're going to wonder why these children are taking cocaine. Now, very interesting article about cocaine. People who take cocaine have problems with sickness. Watch this. Doctors have often noted that cocaine users suffer more infections, including the AIDS virus. One theory holds that this is because cocaine users are more likely to engage in dangerous behavior, such as unsafe sex. But a study published in this month's Journal of the Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism suggests that cocaine also has a direct effect on the body's infection-fighting chemistry. So you can say, well, Dr. Bob, what are you trying to say to us? What I'm trying to do is lay out this big picture. If children start taking Ritalin, and then they start taking cocaine, what else is going to happen to them? They're going to start being sick. They're not going to be a productive part of our society as we know it today. And it starts at a very, very young age. Ritalin makers tie to the people who are part of CHAD, an organization. There is the people who make Ritalin, what they're doing is that they are also putting together and they're giving drugs to CHAD. The drug manufacturers admit to funding a portion of CHAD, $2 million. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know that your son was a part of our original pilot program that we had several years ago, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your son. I know that his overall health has improved tremendously. Your health has improved tremendously. So let's talk a little bit. Okay. Let's go back 3 or 4 years. Jesse, he was a wild guy.
A wild guy, very, very active. He was labeled as, not just active, it was like bad. This kid is always running around, jumping. He was very active. And his grades showed it too. He didn't want to sit still. He was a great kid. He wasn't destructive, but he wasn't focused.
That's quite a frightening thought. What do you think was going on? What was causing in your life? What do you think the issue was? What items maybe were you choosing?
Well, we didn't eat a lot of junk food, but there was a lot of dairy. Jesse is more affected with dairy than with sugar.
Are you saying then minimizing or eliminating milk helped his emotional distress?
Oh, immensely, immensely. Dairy was an immediate factor that we saw results with.
So taking him off milk helped his emotions. What were some of the changes, or was he able to do the changes easily because he knew was helping him?
We started the program with you, and because we've been coming to you and we trusted you and we knew that you knew what you were doing, I went home and we kind of made a game of it, and we opened all our cupboards and we took everything that was bad, all our poison out, and we put it in a big garbage can and we threw it outside.
How many days into the program did you notice change with your son?
I would say probably no more than a couple weeks. He was calmer, and he even noticed it. He was a little guy, but he even noticed it and said, "Mom, I'm feeling different." Or he didn't feel like he had to run around as much. Very calm. He's matured, his maturity level. And I know kids go through that naturally, but I truly believe limiting dairy, sugar, and he even reprimands us.
I have a quote in this book from Patty when we were finishing the pilot program. She said that her and her family decided to choose life. I'm encouraging you today to make the decision to choose life. You'll be glad you did.